Oh, looks like the sun is disappearing. It's supposed to rain tomorrow too, to my knowledge. Oh well, can't have it all, but again, I'll probably make the plants and stuff grow a lot faster. Alright, what to start off with? You guys basically sent me some videos and so forth. I saw this one of Marc Garneau. Apparently he was talking about drone safety, and that quote again of the nightmare, like the way he made the law because he's having nightmares of drones crashing and so forth. I was like, okay. And he made a comment, something about, well, anything in the air is a safety concern. So pretty much the exact same thing you guys heard before, but it was kind of interesting because I bumped into these other articles for some reason that showed up with it. And this one you can see here, just looking at it here, apparently, I guess this is in the US, apparently there was a turkey? Like, what in the world? And I was just thinking, okay, so are turkeys now going to be part of the law? Now, if I'm reading this correctly too, in this article anyways, it says this was a 30-pound turkey. Holy smokes. I mean, to me, it just goes to show you again, I mean, stuff like this happens where like things fall from the sky and so forth, but wow, 30-pound turkey? What's more deadlier, a drone or this? And that actually led me to this other article, which was kind of funny because this was completely satire, just to make it clear. It says here, RCMP report dickhead Canada geese greatest threat to national security. This is brought to my attention because a lot of people were comparing like geeses compared to like say a drone in the air. And I was just thinking, because if you guys remember the other day, I made the post how Marc Garneau retweeted the Daily Mail, and according to all of you guys, even the people that live in the UK, that's not a reliable source. Like they create like apparently a lot of sensationalized or fake news. I was just thinking, this is kind of like the equivalent. If it was an equivalent of a Marc Garneau, I guess, for a pro drone, imagine someone retweeting this, like assuming it was a real article. I mean, that's how I view that retweet of that Daily Mail article right now. Which again, just goes to show you, if you're in that kind of a position of authority to make laws and stuff like that, I think you have to rely more on real user experiences as opposed to just reading articles like this. Man, imagine if a pro drone guy or whatever retweeted this as the reason, you know, why they should make drones like you should be able to fly anywhere, everywhere without any type of regulations. Again, you have to see both sides of the spectrum. For some more practical news, because I know there's a lot of you guys are wondering like, okay, is any of this effort like making any dent into making like changes for the law and so forth? I was reading a couple of news that might, you know, they'd be related to it. I noticed here, this person that says he's the Vice President of Policy and Legal Affairs at DGI. And apparently this person was visiting Ottawa or something like that. So I guess, you know, that just goes to show you that there's things being done to try to, you know, change laws and so forth. And according to what I read, it said good progress. So that's good news. And then I read this article, I think this is in the US. It talked about how apparently people should stop reporting like any kind of drone sighting, because for the most part it's just a waste of money and resources. So I'm just reading the article here, and it says here, you know, for the most part, like drones have like a good safety record and so forth. And from what this reporter did, out of the 1,274 incidents are reported, from the ones that he saw, most of them turned out to be okay, nothing. Like, okay, maybe a pilot saw a drone and so forth, but in the end, okay, what does that mean? Was the drone like close to crashing to you? Did it have some kind of weapon or something like that? Like, well, what was the point of reporting it? And I think that's the point of the article. Yeah, so ultimately, like, again, it comes down to the point, okay, you see a drone in there, it's up in the air or whatever it is, but what does it matter? Is there something wrong? It'll be no difference, I guess, as saying like, hey, I spot a car on the road. It'll be like, okay, and your point is? But yeah, it actually makes a lot of sense. They even mentioned, you know, besides the fact that it's a waste of resources for like, you know, a pilot to always report like something they see in the air as a quote drone, this is actually what leads to the sensational headlines and stuff. Because, you know, like a media outlet can pick it up like, hey, there's a report of a drone close to a plane crash, and really it was nothing. Like say that plastic bag incident that I posted before. I mean, what a waste of time and resources it causes everyone. And now think of that here in Canada. They're encouraging people to phone 911 for anything. Even like a little toy racing drone, if that's what you want to call it, that's 250 grams. Call the police. I mean, that's too much. So basically, I'm hoping like even like Canadians will learn from this. All right, and all this kind of leads me into my next topic. The biggest one is about drone insurance. Like, as you all know, I basically tried to research about insurances and all. And for the most part, it seems like most people are saying it'll be about, you know, $400 a year or so at minimum, more close to like say $450 to $500, and that's with about $100,000 liability insurance. Like I was saying for myself, that's a little overkill for people like me that are flying it recreationally and stuff. And as you all know, I basically wondered, like for myself, is there a better way? Like, is there an actual organization or something like that to join to get the better rates? And I've noticed, like for the most part, most of the organizations, even the ones that they specifically mentioned in the guide, like when the rules came out, like which organization you should quote join, some of them actually seem very anti-drone-ish, if that makes sense. Like they're actually more focused on just specifically model aircrafts only. Like they're not really into like drones, like the consumer ones, like the iFly, like say the Mavic Pro, like even their fields and so forth. Like they're not even designated for like stuff like that to fly, so that's kind of useless honestly for a person like me. Now some of you have actually reached out to me personally because you wanted to actually create something formal, like as a way to get group insurance, for example, or as a way to actually get like a bigger voice to you know, represent like the hobbyists and all that. And so I thought it was actually interesting because there was actually a person here that contacted me about like drone insurance and all that, and how what kind of discounts and stuff people can potentially get, like if everyone kind of went under a club just like what those other guys do. And it was kind of interesting because bottom line, I guess what it comes down to is there actually enough hobbyists or like a flyer in general? Like, are people willing to like come together and do it, and what are the statistics for that? So I was thinking, why don't I try that, like in terms of just questioning people like yourselves. Like, would you actually join a group like this? Like to like join to get like insurance and all that? All right, you guys missed the rain because it's back. Okay, it's getting really windy, so I turned the wind reduction on so I can continue the conversation. Okay, so basically with the insurance, basically what it comes down to is I guess the amount of people who are actually willing to support something like this. And that's what I'm trying to get some like information, because I know for myself, for example, I'm not like super knowledgeable about drone insurance and all that. And the person was even explaining to me like the reasons why it's so expensive, because with the drones here in Canada, for example, there's no real kind of a database, I guess, if that makes sense, for like everyday people. So when a person like myself goes to like a insurance company and says like, hey, can I get like a quote, I'm basically like some random like Joe, for example, that doesn't have any experience according to them. So I have like a high probability possibly of like, you know, causing an accident, hence the extreme higher insurance rate. So as it was explained to me, which makes a lot of sense, having like a lot of people under like say one group plan, and if like this group can actually show the insurance company like, hey, like we do training and so forth or whatever, to train people to be safe, then that should drop the rate down a bit. That would be for the insurance, and to have like some kind of organization just like what those other guys have, like the one that the Transport Canada advertises so much, except this would actually be focused more on, you know, drone flyers, which to me it actually sounds really great. So with that said, I guess in creating this like vlog and so forth, I want to ask the question, like for all of you who fly drones or is not happy with the laws and so forth, what do you think is reasonable in terms of like an insurance rate, like as a hobbyist? Like to me, $100 a year seems kind of reasonable, considering like if you get the coverage and all like the supports and benefit of like, you know, having a group of people clumped up into like one space and so forth to give you like a voice. But again, I'm interested in hearing what other people have to say too. The way I see it too, at bare minimum, if we all agree, for example, something like the US system's a lot better in terms of the registration, like to have some kind of a database where you get like a registration number as opposed to this ridiculous put your name and address and phone number on your drone and all. And I think at minimum, insurance is gonna have to be one of those minimum things that we're all gonna get. And I personally don't see too big of an issue with that. Like as long as they separate it, like for example, like obviously a person with a 100-gram drone, like I don't think they should require like insurance as an example. But yeah, this is actually a real attempt to get some real data. So voice your opinion, guys. And this could possibly, you know, use it towards creating something that'll help a lot of people. Again, I'm not the like political type or anything like that. I'm just trying to help in any way I can, and people have reached out to me. So here's my attempt to try to get the, you know, the data and so forth. Because for me personally, I've always found success trying to just be, you know, just talk to everyday people, trying to get the information out there. I mean, that's a lot of the ways on how I help to like solve a lot of things. That's how I got a lot of like the news interviews and stuff before, like for different topics. So I hope to do the same here as well, because it's a step in the right direction in my opinion. Right, it's getting really windy. So other than that, I'll see you guys later, and I hope to hear your responses.